All right, I believe we are live.
Are we?
Pop over and see.
Oh, fingers crossed.
Oh,
that would be exciting. Look at people I cannot see.
Yes, if there are people watching, this is new for all of us. So,
I actually don't think we're quite live yet.
Okay.
Oh wait, no, we are. Go ahead. You're good.
Is it a stream delay thing?
Yeah, it was a little delay for me.
Yeah, I think there's a slight delay.
Okay, that's chill.
But it looks like people are watching, so welcome. Thank you for coming out. We've already hit our fundraiser goal, which is super, super exciting. So thank you all for that. Yeah, I think we have... There are people saying that we are live, so...
We are. Confirmed.
Confirmed live.
We are live.
Yeah, so maybe we just want to start by going around introducing ourselves. Hello, I am Saffron. I am the director, editor, person who came up with the concept. I use she, her pronouns. We'll all say our names, pronouns, and what we did, how we contributed to this project. Maybe start with B.
Okay, hey, hi, I'm B. I'm one of your producers for this project using she, her, or they, them.
I'm realizing the thing with Zoom is that it's always a different configuration. Cameron.
I can't like point to something.
Yeah.
That way.
Down there, Cameron.
That's me. Hi, I'm Cameron. He, him. I was in it.
Yes.
If you saw the thing, you saw my face.
And Casey.
Hi, I'm Casey. I use she, her pronouns. I wrote a couple of things, and I said some words.
You did. You said some words.
I did.
First bit of trivia. This was one day after Casey got her wisdom teeth taken out.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Sure was.
So if you need an actress who can like power through anything and also has an insane pain tolerance, you know where to go.
Well, thank you. I tried my best.
Fabiola.
Hi, I'm Fabiola, use she, her pronouns, and I was another producer / emotional support for Saffron.
Yes. And Veronica.
Hi, I'm Veronica. I use she, her pronouns, and I specifically wrote Mel's character, and the little blurb that you saw of Chapter 8 on the run was my work. So, that was a fun project in speed writing, because I, totally, be honest, forgot that I had to have that due at a certain point. Like, no, and I wrote that in 45 minutes. So, I'm kind of proud of myself.
It's super impressive. Yeah, that's one thing that's really fun about this project, this work, is that there was the script that had to be written, and then there was a lot of writing of things that exist in world. So the story, the like tweets and like bios of various accounts, and we also had some lovely artists who contributed the art. Since we had Andy be an artist. So, what do we have? Some questions that we should answer?
Yeah, we had one from Zappo Max. I'm not sure how to pronounce that,
yes.
But I probably did it wrong. In the YouTube chat of like how we filmed the D&D portion of that story. Was it a single take? The answer is no, it's not a single take, but it also is, but it's also not. So
yeah. So we had a lot of this footage was actual like screen capture. So I believe it was a combination of phone. Yeah, it was a combination of phone and computer recording of one single Discord call. And so the take that you see in the even though it switches between different perspectives, that is the same take between those different angles in a way. But yeah, we did have multiple takes of the D&D sessions, and some of that was just trying to get Discord work.
I'm sorry.
That's not your fault, Casey. It's definitely, you have some weird internet demon.
We had our set ghost messing with us.
Honestly,
Basically, our
yeah.
set ghost was Discord. Yeah. It was well, the other question that we have from chat here that goes kind of hand in hand here is from Daria Bor, is what was it like recording a remote film? Because I know some of us have done in-person films before, some of us haven't, and some of us, this is like the only thing that we've done. So what was that process like for all y'all?
I would love to, I can speak a little on that, but I'd also love to hear what our actors think and our producers. I'll just say it was one word response. It was interesting. But second word response, rewarding.
Those are some well-chosen words. I have relatively little experience, not no experience, but basically no experience acting in like real-life film. But I was struck by how, like, in particular for the D&D scene, I was thinking through that last question, like, there was a lot of the same, like, quiet on set, are we ready with this and that for like, because people have to join at specific times and messages have to like be sent and received at specific times, and there was that I like felt like had a very similar vibe to like actual in-person production where there was stuff to get set up, and then action was called, and you did it until you hit the end of the scene, or almost more commonly, something went wrong, because it turns out coordinating this stuff is challenging.
That's a very fun way to put it, because this is the first sort of like online film that I've produced, but I've done more stuff like in real life and in like sound stages, and so it's similar to when you have to do like a multi-camera setup and make sure everything is out of the way for all of the cameras so that they don't catch anybody running behind set trying to like turn on a light or something like that. But it was especially true, I think, in that Discord in the D&D scene. I think we had like Saffron, you were like sitting in the call, like the real one, while also like directing from a side phone call or something like that, like
Yes.
just like over the Zoom call to tell people when to come into the real call, which felt very indie film-esque, of like the director is like, they have a foot over here, but they're also talking to somebody over in as like the director to like cue people and stuff like that.
Yeah, and that was kind of having this kind of director's cameo as me as another player in the D&D party was essentially our shortcut so that I could get ears and eyes on the scene. Because there was no really other way for me to see what was going on in the Discord call and give notes unless I was in the Discord call. So it was kind of fun to be like, just stand off screen and just be like directing and texting notes to be, texting to be like, okay, you come in now and then you do this.
I think we had like part of when we were discussing how to film that D&D thing, we had like the idea of like you would be in there as like the battle map that they were using for Dungeons and Dragons or something like that. I think that was something that was something we floated at one point. That was fun.
There's definitely a lot of Oh, you go.
Sorry, you go. Was that like as a bot in the call, right?
Yeah.
As like a screen that was just like somebody was sharing their screen just to be the battle map, and that's just where Saffron would be hiding, basically. It's like if you hide a director behind the curtain for no good reason other than they just want to be closer in. Like, it's just like whack, and I'm glad we didn't do it, but it was fun.
I think having you be a player ended up working pretty well.
Yeah, and I think it gave us some fun momentum. I'll just say, like, there was some great moments written into the script. I think I credit most of the amazing lines to our actors. A lot of the final scene, while Mel is, messaging Andy, that kind of chemistry and back and forth really just came from improv in the moment. And I think that's my favorite part of the film is that kind of just like all of us chatting and getting to be there. I think someone, I can't remember who, but someone at the end after we finished filming was like, we're a pretty good fake D&D group, guys. Like, maybe we should do this again.
Yeah, no, it was a really collaborative, like, cool thing that we were doing, because we had, like, ideas of what we wanted to say, but we didn't have, for most of the D&D stuff, we didn't have, like, actual, like, here's who's saying what, and here's, like, the time thing. I don't know, I've never done a film before, so it was a really, but it was interesting because we got to work with each other in such a different way, because we're not in the same room, and it was still very collaborative, which was something that was more surprising to me. Like, we didn't need as much structure as I thought we were going to. We kind of just did it. Same with the writer's room. It was super collaborative and really cool. And I guess I wasn't expecting that would be as possible through the online format. And it was, which was awesome. It was a lot of fun to work on.
Yeah, for me, that was one of the things that I really liked. It was both something that I really enjoyed as an experiment kind of thing, but also was challenging as a writer. Was, how much are we going to specifically write something out? How many details are we going to nail down, and how much are we going to leave, kind of open? Because if you work a character too much, then they just kind of seem flat and robotic and like too crafted, if that makes sense. But at the same time, for like the D&D thing, it's like, well, we want to make sure we're having this moment here and kind of this feeling. So we want to make sure we're getting that across, but we also don't want to have it be so scripted that it just feels awkward and not as natural. So that was definitely like an interesting thing of kind of walking that balance between, having a script so you know what you're going to say, you know what scene is going to happen, you know what it's going to lead to next, but then also leaving it open for the creativity that is really unique to this project.
Mm-hmm. It looks like we lost Fabiola. I was messaging her. It's always problems with tech.
That goes, man. Another question from Zampo Max in chat. Did you ever physically meet in person as a crew as part of this production?
No.
Nope. Completely online.
One thing that was really, actually, that's one of the things that I feel was really rewarding was the sense that I could work with a bunch of people who I had never met before this project. Bea and Veronica both were new friends made through the power of internet, and I think that's actually something that's super cool. Ori, who played Mel, is in Germany, and so we could have all these different people all across, the globe collaborate, and we didn't have to worry about finding a place to meet.
To Ori for recording at some ridiculous hour.
Oh, yes.
I was gonna say, like,
their time schedule was so off from the rest of ours, because I think everyone else is in the United States, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're all in the United States. Ori's in Germany. Ori is, I think, an 8-hour time difference?
It's like close.
Something like that. Oh, wow.
Like, when we're meeting at, 12 in the afternoon, where it's like, that makes sense for us, because we're either off work or we're not going to work yet, so we have the time. Rory, that's bedtime. Rory's tired. But Rory, pushed through and was like, I'm going to be here because I am excited about this.
Yeah.
It was like 3 a.m. when you guys were recording like the final scene. I felt so bad for them.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
That's what, like, hey, that's just like working on like a real film set. You're just there until 3 a.m. and you can't leave, except this one is just a D&D dungeon like call.
Yeah.
That's it.
They were like, it's getting up to 4 a.m. Whatever, it's fine. We can do another one.
Just keep going. We can go.
That is true. After a certain point, you kind of just like the adrenaline just kicks in, and you're like, I can keep going.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't look at the clock. You're fine.
Yeah.
If you don't think about the concept of time, it doesn't exist, so you're good.
Exactly.
We have a question from Virginia Gaub, who's asking us, how did we all originally, Gaub, originally find each other, like, to connect and to make this film?
Well, how people who joined, what was your experience? How did you come across this project?
Well, I'm close friends with Saffron in real life.
That did help.
So that's how I know.
You got roped into this out of obligation. The rest of us just saw a post on Twitter and went for it.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, that's how I found it. Saffron and I are like mutuals on Twitter, and she posted about a film, and I was like, okay, sure, this is what I do. Let's go.
That's it. Yeah, Saffron and I have a mutual on Twitter, and for the life of me, I cannot remember who it is right now. But we are
someone.
Yeah.
Whoever you are, we're grateful for you.
Thank you for connecting us. Yeah, so we were friends with somebody. We have a mutual on Twitter, and they had shared her tweet about having, this project in the works, wanting to get it going, wanting different people to fill different roles, and I am a writer, and that's kind of what I want to pursue as a career. And I saw that she had asked, we're looking for people to fill out the writing team or any other roles that you're interested in, and I'm like, well, you know what? I've never done this, but it would be fun. It would be exciting. Let me try something new. Let me, we're in COVID. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not doing anything right now, so I've definitely got the time for it. So I think I filled out the poll that you had links to at first.
Yeah.
And then you reached out to me saying, this is completely a voluntary project. We're not getting paid for it. Like, that does not deter me at all. What can I do?
Yeah. I put together a little Google poll where essentially people could fill in their information and what they were interested in. And I sent it out into the world.
The void.
Yeah.
It's pretty much what it is sometimes, because you didn't know like what kind of response you would be getting here.
No, there was a moment.
Often feels like you're just talking to yourself.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Honestly, I think what I'm grateful for is the various fandoms that I'm in, and that many of us are in. That's kind of what linked us was, you like this thing and I like this thing, so we're going to follow each other, or we follow someone else who likes this thing, and then, but then to have a original creative work come out of that, I think is really cool. And that's part of, it's nice to have, the content of the film connect to, like, the creation of it, the origin of it. We made a film about how people can connect online by connecting with people online.
Very meta.
If you think about it too much, it's very meta. We have another question here from Cynthia Gao. Looks like some pretty tricky screencasting and editing. How many different devices and programs did you use to record and edit? All of them. We used all of the devices and programs.
Yeah, we used built-in recording things on like iPhones and like laptops. We used OBS. We used actual like mics, hooked up to get audio, and then you also there was just like headset audio, computer audio. I did some like voice memo stuff on my own phone to kind of get like a kind of not super polished sound. I edited it all in Premiere, Adobe Suite Premiere. Maybe I'll post a photo of how the timeline looks because it's layered. It's interesting. I had it color coded at one point. It stopped being color coded after a certain point because I was just like, okay, this thing goes here, and then I'm moving. This is adding. This is, and then I'm recording this in. There was also some downloads from freesound.org, which is great.
Freesound.org is fantastic.
It's a blessing.
Indie filmmaker's best friend.
Pretty much.
Yes. That's where the lovely rain sound came from, because even though I'm from Seattle, it's rainy here. It has not been rainy in a while because it's been sad out.
Uh-huh.
Also, going back to sort of that D&D call, and then the very last scene of the film where Mel and Andy call each other, we had to we used the full audio that we captured from Cameron's laptop or something like that across the whole thing, because whenever we cut to the phones and everything, all of those were running concurrently. So we had a full recording of just some blank space on phones and stuff, because we were just it would be a nightmare to try and link all this up otherwise.
Yes.
Everybody just hit record at about the same time, and it would be much easier to do there.
Yeah, it was, that was surprisingly not the hardest part of having multiple. It was kind of like a multi-camera setup, honestly, of just switching between two different versions. The interesting bit of recording and then editing was the final FaceTime call. On iPhones, you can't screen record if you're getting an incoming call, which makes sense if you're it's going to stop recording if it's private information. So that means we actually had two different FaceTime calls to get the two different reactions, and then I used the audio from one. That was a little bit frustrating at first, because also in that initial kind of that scene where it's oh my god, they called me, Ori's phone stopped recording, and so then we had to do another take. But it all worked out.
Cynthia also asks him, how sick of Zoom are you? Very.
Yes. That's why it's a slightly tongue-in-cheek tagline, but it is a tagline of this is not another Zoom. It's not another Zoom story. Yes, that was Fabiola.
Brilliant.
Absolute credit goes to Fabiola. Yeah, it was kind of nice to be this is a film that's online, but don't see Zoom at all.
You don't see Zoom at all, and it's the best part.
Yeah. Oh no, I was just gonna say, yeah, I'm over Zoom. I use Zoom for just about everything right now, and I mean, thankfully, I haven't had any major issues with it. But I'm just so sick of using it. I'm just it already.
Seeing everybody's faces and these lines of squares and everything. I'm so
Yes,
sorry.
as we're recording this on Zoom.
Yeah, but I was just kicked out.
Yeah,
A couple minutes ago. Zoom has been kicking me out lately for some reason.
Just
It's
wait on the
seeing
second.
that you're rebelling against it. That's why. It's oh, you don't like me anymore? Let me change that.
I am currently in an online class about user experience design.
Oh, not
Zoom.
right now. I
And-
thought you were saying you were.
No, not right now. Not right now.
that would be power move.
Continue.
Turn off your camera and mic and just be I'm actually doing this other thing right now.
Sorry.
I am taking a class in this same rough time period. It's on user experience design, and it's over Zoom, and we've more than once, probably many times, used Zoom as a specific example of what not to do. It's
not fun.
Yeah, I don't especially like this application.
We have another question here from Zampo Max again. Would you recommend totally remote filmmaking to other filmmakers?
Yeah. I think
that was a loaded silence before you said yes.
That felt very qualified.
I know, like,
I feel like
are you gonna or not?
you can't say no because we did it,
Yeah.
but you don't want to say yes because there's so many logistic things that you have to consider that you don't consider with the IRL filming.
Yeah.
In person.
I miss seeing people in person.
That's not an experience that any of us can relate to.
Not at all.
So, and it's really only, I think it's certain kinds of stories can be told this way. But one thing that I do was important for me, and I think we did it, is we made kind of a genre breaking film in terms of other online, other like found footage screen captured films. There's most of them are horror. There's all the Unfriended movies, Host, which is the Zoom seance film, which is a great film, but and then there's Searching, which is a thriller. These are great films, but they're all about like the drama, and I'm like, where's the romance? Where's the like companionship? Because that's what I have when I go on to Twitter. I mean, Twitter can be a kind of hellscape,
show.
but I keep coming back to it because I do have the positive interactions. I like emailing with friends, emailing with people, texting with friends, so, yeah, I want to see more because I want people to challenge themselves. I think some of the, the SNL skits and things that they did with their remote shows was interesting, but I want to see comedy the comedy's not about being on Zoom. Maybe it's comedy that it's taking place on a computer, but not there's other ways to be funny. And so I would like to see more of it, but at the same time I'm like, we're all already tired of it. We're tired of Zoom. So I would recommend it if you're trying to do something new. But don't do it for just because you I don't know.
I mean, it's definitely an interesting experiment to get into, but it's definitely, like I said, aside from the whole genre type and trying to get more into that and trying to broaden it, there are definitely a lot more logistics that you have to consider, and there's a lot more aspects that just don't come into play at all. It's a completely different set style of filming, right? Where what's going to apply to real, we're all gathering together and filming that way. What's going to apply there doesn't necessarily apply to online, but then what applies to online doesn't apply to a real set kind of thing. And that's something that you kind of have to consider, with our whole, filming times, with the set, we're there from 8 a.m. to, 8 p.m. Like, that's just a given. You're there. There's nothing else that you're going to be doing, but, you'll be limited in who can be there. But with online, we had Ori, who was in Germany, and that was something that we never would have had if we were filming on a live set. But then we also have to consider, well, you know, if we're going to be filming till 3 in the morning, we have to keep in mind that, you know, some of us have work the next day or school or commitments, and we have to kind of keep in mind, okay, how late are we going to be filming? How many scenes can we get in this time frame? You know, it's so there's definitely positives and negatives to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. From like a production management sort of look down here, you're gonna have to make a spreadsheet of all the accounts and applications you will need to create.
Yeah.
Because when it's a different sort of like style of thinking, because like we had to make, say, Instagram, Twitter, WhatsApp accounts for all 3 of the main characters. We had to populate those so they looked like real people. They can't just be screaming into the void. They had to be screaming into a few people at least. Mm-hmm. Then you had to figure out like ways to record all of that. Like, can we just will like screen recording on the iPhone stick while we're like trying to record this FaceTime call? Originally, no, because we couldn't figure out why it wouldn't like let you record when there was a call coming in, that sort of thing. So there is like, when you film in person, you can point a camera at a thing and you're good. But when you film online, you need to worry more about like, well, will this thing let you point a camera at it? Will you know, the FaceTime call actually let you record? Because there's more of those like barriers, more of those like user experience sort of things when you're online and there aren't in person. Mm-hmm. And you're gonna need to make some sort of spreadsheet. And if you don't like making spreadsheets, I'm very sorry, but
don't be in production if you don't like spreadsheets.
That's why you have a producer. I don't like spreadsheets, so I got some producers. One thing that I'm
spreadsheets.
I was just gonna say one thing that I'm speaking of, like populating the Twitter spheres and stuff. One of my biggest pet peeves in media is when like someone opens up, like on a movie or a TV show, they like open up their text messages and the message that they're sending is like the first message they've sent to someone.
Yeah.
I never, that frustrates me so much. And so we didn't do that with this. We made sure that even though it was like that day, Ori and Cameron had at each other on WhatsApp. They were like, okay, we're going to send some messages to make sure it like looks like there's stuff happening here.
There's an actual conversation and they're actually friends.
Yeah. It's almost like set design in a way, but in a way that like nobody else is going to like notice unless you're actually like, we're the only ones who would have noticed if Ori and Shay didn't have like a conversation history. We're the only ones who would have noticed. But it also would have been like, if you watch it twice, you'd have been like, hey, wait, hold up.
You really don't realize how much of like you gets into your devices in terms of customization and content until you try and like remake it even superficially to like another person's life. Like there's a lot that we put out there that you just have to like hide away. And like I was pinning new stuff to my taskbar and frantically finding people like, I've never used WhatsApp. I see you're on WhatsApp. Please don't be confused by the random message I'm sending you one time once, to just so that I have some little things on the sidebar.
So that people actually think of a real person. Yeah, exactly.
So that I can convince people that Jay is a real person. Yeah, exactly. Thank you, by the way, B, and everyone who's worked in production. You're heroes. This has to have been a tremendous logistical undertaking to like get everything in place for that.
Yeah.
I just am remembering another fun little thing of random messages on WhatsApp. I sent you a couple of really, like, I sent you some gibberish messages, Cameron, because I was trying to get the sound of sending a message on WhatsApp, and so I had to record. I don't know if you've ever checked that and saw that, but I was just like, it's because it's different than the iMessage sound. So,
I if ever I have a reason again to use WhatsApp, I guess I'll find those and see what you send me.
Yeah, I
But-
sent you a couple of like audio, like recording of me screaming. So have fun with that.
Right.
He's
Well,
so confused in 5 to 6 months when you open up WhatsApp and see those.
That's great. That was like, yeah, in the writers' room, that was definitely something we thought about for all of the characters of, what does their phone look like? Especially for Ori and Mel's character, since, we open on their homepage, or not the homepage, their home screen, and we're seeing all the folders and the apps and the notifications and things like that. That was something that we kind of thought about of like, okay, well, especially for me, I was like, okay, well, I have all these ideas of what I want their apps to look like and what I want their folders to look like, but I also kind of have to keep in mind that this is Ori's phone. I can't just have Ori download 20,000 apps that I think would work for Mel's character, only to delete them, because it would just take up space and storage and all that. But then also at the same time, kind of tying back into that, like, how much detail do you go into? No one's gonna know that that app is there except for me and Mel and other people in the writers room. No one's gonna notice. But for me, I'm like, I want to have that there, just so I at least feel like this character is fleshed out. So we talked about like, all right, well, we're definitely gonna have some food apps. We'll have some shopping stuff. I think we had a ride share on there because I think we kind of came up with like, yeah, Mel doesn't have a car, so they use like their bus system, or they have the ride share apps on their phone just so they can get around, and just kind of things like that, where it's like, okay, even if you only have downloaded this for this specific film and you never use it again, at least it's there, so Mel's character looks like they're a fleshed out person, that they're actually like living and breathing and not just a character on a page.
Well, we did a similar thing for Che too. Oh, sorry, did you want to go?
Yeah, those are like details like that are like you only notice their absence, but you don't notice when they're there. You notice when they're not there, and it feels fake.
Exactly.
Yeah, we definitely also did a similar thing for Che. Like, we had all the fake D&D notes, and we had all the character names, and all the character classes, and all the D&D stuff so that we had some dungeon maps, and we had specific tabs that you couldn't even see if they were open, but they were there. And
It looked real hard to read them.
There's some fun, I think, if you stop and pause and look at the tabs that Andy has open, I'm pretty sure it's a bunch of Dimension 20 stuff, because that's how a couple of us found each other with mutuals on those fandom spaces. I think the transcript for the episode 9 Calroy speech is there. If you know that,
Is that really there?
I'm pretty sure that's one of the tabs.
this has come up like multiple times.
Yeah, it's just fun little Easter eggs. If you know it, you know it.
Also, the phone number at phone
Yeah.
number that Mel sends Andy, like it was B's idea. Put it
The
there.
phone number that Mel sends Andy is something from like season 2 of the Vampire Diaries, where they showed a phone on screen. Like, they gave each other a phone number, and when you called that number, it's still active. It's like a voicemail from Stefan and Damon and Catherine. And that is, I think,
did not know that.
best Easter egg, because it's just something so few people on Earth are gonna realize that, like, that specific phone number was on season 2, episode 19 of the Vampire Diaries.
But it's like,
But also, it
my
solves such a good
favorite-
problem.
yeah.
It's my favorite piece of trivia for this film.
Yeah.
I feel like we've created an accidental mini ARG.
We really did. Just like, hey, track our varied and wild interests through this short film, but only the stuff that's in the background.
Yeah.
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 There's also stuff that, at least on Che's screen, showed up by necessity, because like you were talking earlier about how did we record this? You can see OBS open on my taskbar, so I
down there.
just had to be like, I don't know, Che streams some Fall Guys for his friends every now and then. You know,
Yeah, that's one of the things we had to do. I had to do. I keep saying we in plural when talking about editing, as if I had a team.
You did.
I did that because I'm
Take the appropriate credit.
Yes. But I think it did blend to be that kind of thing that, like Fabiola was saying, that like because you, well, it's like the opposite actually. You don't see it, and so it's okay. And if you saw it, it would be distracting. Of the on when you record on an iPhone, there is a strip at the top that is red that says recording. And so actually all of the footage from the iPhone is cropped slightly and like recentered so that you don't see it. You do see it when it's exiting out of an app briefly and going to another app because it like minimizes and you can see the red bar. And also like when like Mel like was tweeting on, you know, like opening up something on Twitter and like there's the media line, you can see the most recent media was like a screen recording. But I'm just gonna say it adds to the meta-ness. You know, it's also part of, that's almost why I kind of decided to have the title cards to be the script, to be typing in the script. Yeah.
There's so many levels to this that you don't even realize.
There's so much. That was like my favorite thing learning from this project was, like I said, I'd never done anything screenwriting. I studied creative writing, have a bachelor's in English, but I didn't study screenwriting. I didn't study. So that was something that I was like, okay, you know, we'll try it. You know, I knew it was going to be different, but also kind of at the same time, like, well, let's see how it transfers over. But that was one of my favorite things of kind of learning about screenwriting was, yeah, there's going to be a lot of things, a lot of meta, a lot of, you know, little details and stuff that you kind of are like, oh, I didn't think about this, and I kind of have to. But, you know, sometimes you can do something about it, you know, like you did Saffron with editing and cropping it so it doesn't look as obvious that it's a screen record. And there's sometimes where it's like, you know what, I can't do anything about it. It just is a part of it, and we're just going to roll with it.
Yeah. Well, I just want to make sure we shout out our fundraiser again.
Yes.
Can we put the link somewhere? Do we know how to do
Yeah,
that?
Let me throw the link in chat super quick.
Oh, thank you.
We are raising money for the what is it actually again? The National Alliance on Mental Illness, which is a grassroots campaign that they do all sorts of things to better the mental health in the United States. They do education, they have helplines, they do campaigning. I think right now it's not even like, you know, something that I can speculate on. I think it's known that this pandemic, this quarantine, it's had a tremendous impact for mental health as well as, you know, regular health. And I wanted to make sure we support a charity that is trying to do good and help people. You know, the message of our film is kind of that there is connection that you can find online, that there is people that you can connect to, and that's definitely the case in terms of talking about mental health. You're not alone. You're never alone, and the National Alliance for Mental Illness, that's one of their mission statements.
It also plays into something that we kind of talked about when we were developing the film, and something that Ems in chat kind of touched on is they said that we did a wonderful job portraying the coziness of the best parts of being online, which is something that we kind of talked about as like making these people lived in, but also just like having an online community and just like talking with your pals and, you know, reading through the transcripts of episode 9 of A Crown of Candy just for that one good villain monologue together so you can all spiral on Twitter about it at the same time. That sort of thing. It's like, it's a community. We're all here. We're all on the internet. One last question from Zampo Max in chat with probably the most controversial question. When's the sequel coming out? Hey, Saffron? hey, when's the sequel coming out?
Hey,
I didn't... Honestly, I didn't think that that we would need... I don't know, that there would be interest for it. I guess there is. If there's interest, then I'll consider it. I think it's hard because school has picked up for a lot of us again. This was a nice summer project. If there was a sequel made, it might be more of a kind of a thematic sequel.
A spiritual successor.
Yeah, another kind of story with a similar perspective and kind of message. I don't know, message. Yeah, maybe it would be from a Che or another friend of them that, like, you know, there's a reference to Mel and Andy. I don't know. Stuff to think about, because I had not thought about that before this question.
We can create a full cinematic universe.
Exactly.
Look, I'm here for that. An entire cinematic indie universe of this story. I am absolutely on board.
That's what we're doing on Sunday.
Tomorrow, yes.
Look, I have a brand new computer. She's super powerful. Like, I can record, all right? I couldn't
Let's go
with this one.
I would also be... It would make my, like, life if someone was inspired by this to make something similar. I mean, I would be, like, I would fully help someone produce something that is in a similar vein. I would, if people have ideas, I think that would be very, very cool.
And that's one of the cool parts about this project is we're saying that it's really hard. It's not that hard. Like, we could figure it out. I think you can also figure it out. I have enough faith in you.
And
it's different, but we got it. So you can too.
We did it, like, look, we're indie, we didn't have a budget, but we didn't really need one. I mean, a lot of us...
Which was awesome.
Yeah. we had technology already available from, you know, either it was built-in tech or things that we had accessed through schooling or education, or work.
Free apps and downloads.
Yeah. So it's doable.
Yeah. I mean, especially for me too, like I said, I had never done anything like this. You know, I'd always kind of... I play around with the idea of starting my own, like, YouTube channel or podcast, but I've never actually done any, like, real video editing or, like I said, script writing or anything. So I fully believe in anyone, you know, everyone who's watching this, in your power to figure it out, because we did.
If there's one message you should come away from this with, is we could figure it out, so I bet you can too.
Exactly.
And I'm sure you would do it. Anyone who's, you know, interested would do an amazing job.
Wow, I like how uplifting we got there, guys.
Yeah.
I love that for us. It was so heartfelt.
Yeah, I think, how is our fundraiser doing? We're very close.
We're super close to getting it.
Goal.
We're 180 from our goal of 200, so...
wow, guys.
Yeah.
Honestly, I said 150. I didn't think we would reach that, but we're almost to 200 now. Like, that's awesome.
That's so exciting. I'm so glad that we were able to, you know, there's a percentage, you know, we've already made 180% more. Is that how things work? Of
Sure.
Our budget, because we had a zero budget. I guess budget of zero.
I don't think that's how math
fine.
works, but I'm going
It's
with
fine.
it there.
We made money because we didn't spend any.
Well, no,
Made
we
money
did
for
not.
someone
we
else.
Yes.
were the organization.
Raise money.
Yes, math and economics.
Not our
Definitely
strong suits.
something.
We We make stories. We don't
Yes.
do math or economics.
Accountant job. All right, that'll handle that department.
Yeah, that is definitely not any of our departments. Even though it is, but it's not. We can do basic math, we promise.
Yes.
Look, I'd have to get my mom for that. All right, she's an accountant. Like starts talking numbers, and I'm just like, yep.
Exactly, it's just going right over my
You
head.
said words.
The most math I did for this
Words
project was figuring out the time zone difference between all the actors.
Yeah. Especially between me and Ori, because I had to work with Ori and then figure out like,
Yeah.
because that's another thing that I liked too about the project was that it wasn't just the writer saying, "Here's your character, that's it." There wasn't any like we're telling them what to do. There was definitely still that collaborative effort between the writer and the actor of like, all right, how are you feeling about this direction? How are you feeling about making them say like having them say this or having like this interaction or series of actions on the phone and all that. So I really like that aspect. But there's definitely some logistic of figuring out like, all right, what's a time that works for both of us? Because I'm in Pacific time, they're in I don't
Central
know what
European time, I think,
Sure.
something like
Sure.
that.
They're Germany, so 9 hours ahead of me. So when I'm like, because I think they were done with their day by like 10 or 11.
AM?
Which was really late.
PM.
In the evening.
For
Which is really late for them, but for me, I'm like, okay, that's 1 or 2 o'clock. But I can't, like we can't stay too late because they gotta go to bed. So they're like, all right, we got an hour, figure this out, let's do it.
yeah. Well, do people have any like closing statement or thoughts that they want to share? Anything else you feel like you want to cover?
Yeah, don't schedule your surgery for the day before you're supposed to record for your
Or listen to the people who are with you and say, you know what, that's probably not a good idea for you.
That's fine. I'm just saying in general.
Yes. If you can,
we're
that's
also shocked.
a tip.
So I remember you just showed up and you had like the big gauze and everything. I had no idea you'd gotten surgery. I was like, are you okay?
I was fine. Okay, sorry. I wasn't trying to hear that until I think about the abstract. Continue.
I was impressed. I was impressed.
All of us are with post-surgery Casey. Just in general, impressed, period.
Yeah, I guess any other thoughts? It's 3:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, so
Pay attention to the phone numbers on the stuff you watch.
oh yes.
Try and call every single phone number you see in like a movie. It's so much fun. I guarantee it is so much fun.
And you will get a Vampire Diaries related voicemail for
That's
our
right.
film.
And that's the moral of the story.
The moral of the story is listen to the Vampire Diaries, I guess.
Or listen to Afterbite, the podcast.
My podcast that inspired that weird reference. Perfect. It's called Afterbite. You should listen to it.
I mean, in all seriousness, thank you for watching and
Yes.
coming and
Yes.
Absolutely.
Honestly, this
Biggest thank yous.
is so much fun. I'm so glad I did this. So, thank you for watching and our inane ramblings afterwards, and thank you for watching the film too.
I'm looking at the comments on the video. I'm looking at the view count creeping up, and there's just like they're like so positive, and like that this thing has impacted people in like an actual way. In an actual way. Great. And yeah, I'm really grateful to have been a part of that. It's kind of cruel that you see my face so much in the no, not just because I had the easiest job. Like everyone had already figured it out for me, and I just had to like I just had to hang out in a fake D&D session for a sec.
That's called being an actor, Cameron. You're a movie star. You just show
The
up.
hard part.
You roll up with a coffee in hand, sunglasses on. You're like, all right, tell me where to go.
Tell me what D&D call to hang out in. Let's do this.
No, it's just, I don't know. It's these people behind the scenes who are responsible for all the positivity and the like, you know, all of these positive messages that I'm seeing in the comments and being like,
Aw.
you know,
Yeah.
So mushy, I love it.
Yes, so I am so thankful for everyone who saw this. I'm so thankful for the cast and the crew. Everyone has my deepest love to. It is so incredibly fulfilling that this idea that I had one night when I couldn't sleep has turned. It's worked out. It's I don't have words, so thank you.
We made a thing, guys. We made a thing and it made people smile. That's the good part.
yeah.
Okay, if we keep this up, we're just gonna be thanking each other back and forth until.
That's fine.
Thank you to
That's it. What's
producers for handling like literally everything logistics wise. Oh my god.
Yes. We
We
bow
all
down
got
to
Thanks for
be.
filling in the
got there
spreadsheet so
eventually.
we don't have to.
Yes.
I like color coding. What's up?
Yeah, I think. Let me see. We'll do a little refresh. Yeah, the fundraiser is still open. If you can check it out, donate. Anything helps.
We're only $20 away from
we're
our
so
extended goal,
close.
so please get us there.
Yeah,
Pull out your wallets,
that's
folks. Let's go.
four $5 donations. So that's so easy. That's math. That's basic math.
That is math. You did
Yes.
do math. I'm
See?
really
Yeah.
proud.
It's
Yeah,
very
figured it out.
basic math, but it's still math.
It's still math and it still counts.
Yeah. I think we're gonna end the stream. So people can go off and do whatever their afternoons or evenings or mornings entail. Who knows?
Have a lovely day.
But once again, thank you, and yeah, take care in these strange times.
Bye.
Bye.
What do you do?